South Senatorial District from Kano. Mr. President, my dear colleagues, my motion is in respect of the Uromi killings, Edo State, as a government response. The Senate notes that on March 27, 2025, the town of Uromi in Edo State, Nigeria, was a scene of a gruesome mob attack in which 16 travelers, reportedly of northern region, who mostly from Kano State, Kano South Senatorial District indigene, were brutally murdered and some set ablaze by local vigilantes. The victims were intercepted by members of an illegal security group who, often allegedly discovering locally made weapons in their vehicle, incited a mob that carried out the killing without recourse to local investigation or due process. Further note that the incident, widely condemned across the country, acting without any lawful authority or oversight, intercepted the victims, accused them of being kidnappers, and executed them publicly without investigation, trial, or evidence, actions that only constitute a gross violation of the victim's constitutional right to life, but also represent a dangerous erosion of the rule of law and chilling escalation in the misuse of self-styled security groups across the country. Further disturbs that the brutal murder of this innocent individual has rendered hundreds of our children orphan, many of whom have now been forced out of school due to the sudden and premature loss of their parents. The primary breadwinners of their families. If urgent intervention is not taken, there is real danger that our vulnerable children may resort to street begging for survival, while female children in particular risk being exposed to exploitation, abuse, and involvement in negative social practice, thereby confounding the cycle of poverty, trauma, and social instability within affected communities. What is that the extrajudicial violence not only violates the fundamental right of the life guaranteed under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but also reflects a dangerous breakdown in law and order. The increasing resort to mob justice and the unchecked operations of unregulated vigilant groups whose grave threat to national unity, public safety, and rule of law. Further worried that of equal concern is ethnic profiling associated with this incident, which is left unaddressed, could fuel intercommunal tension and threaten Nigerian fragile social cohesion. These killings, carried out without local investigation or trial, constitute an approach to justice and a stain of our collective conscience as a nation. Concern that the proliferation of arms among local hunters and vigilant groups, many of whom operate without proper registration, licensing, or oversight, has contributed to the rise in extrajudicial killing and unlawful use of force in rural communities. As tragically demonstrated in Uromi incident, the lack of regulated framework for community security has created an environment where self-styled enforcers carry weapons without accountability, thereby posing a serious threat to public safety and national cohesion. Also concerned that the persistent neglect of socio-economic needs of grassroots communities continue. Further concerned that the persistent neglect of socio-economic needs of grassroots communities continue to fuel prostration, insecurity, and rural-urban migration, as many young people flee hardship in search of better opportunities, leaving their villages depopulated and vulnerable to crime, poverty, and social disintegration. There is therefore an urgent need for government at all levels to invest in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and the economic empowerment in rural areas to promote local government autonomy and the inclusive development and stability. Then the prayers. Commend the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his swift directive to security agencies to thoroughly investigate the Uromi killings and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to justice. Commend the Governor of Edo, His Excellency Monday, for decisively disbanding the illegal vigilant groups implicated in the killing and constituting a fact-finding committee to prove the incident, and as well as Governor of Kano State, His Excellency Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, for his proactive effort in promoting peace and showing solidarity with the families of the victim. Encourages the Governor of Edo to expedite the ongoing investigation, ensure the prosecution of those found culpable, and facilitate prompt payment of adequate compensation for the brave families. Call on the Senate to observe a minute's silence in solemn honor to victims of this senseless and tragic act of violence. Further call on the relevant committees on the national security and the intelligence, police affairs, and human rights to monitor the responses of the government and security agencies to this incident. Recommend appropriate legislative measures to regulate and proportionalize the operation of community security output and vigilant groups across the country. Propose reforms aimed at strengthening law enforcement accountability and curbing extrajudicial action all over Nigeria. Call on the National Assembly to prioritize and advance legislation promoting local government autonomy, recognizing the empowerment and well-resources local government are essential for rural development, grassroots security, and reducing the persistent trend of rural-urban migration. Then finally, mandate the clerk of the Senate to formally transmit this resolution to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Governor of Edo, and of course Governor of Kano State, and all relevant government agency for immediate implementation. I so submit, Mr. President, and my dear respected, distinguished, honorable colleague. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Sad incidents where 16 law-abiding people were killed for no fault of theirs, but the fact that they were hunters. When it happened, there was a national outreach by all and sundry, cutting across the entire segments of this country. Everybody from the south to the west, from the Muslim to the Christian, from Igbos, Ibibios, Efik, Anang, Yoruba, everybody was really worried that that could have taken place in this era, in this time of national development. But then we took solace on the quick response of the federal government, of the state government, of this Senate, and of course of the Kano State government. Everybody went to start working to make sure that more of this kind of thing did not happen. On the side of the state government, we have to commend the state government because it opened that window of discussion, of interaction, because the Senate represented by me went into action by calling the governor, and we're, interfacing, talking, on how to deal with the matter, on how to make sure that the matter did not escalate. Also, the governor took time to visit all that were involved, went to Kano State, came to the Senate through me to discuss the matter. And in fact, everybody, all Nigerians were worried. But what is important here is that we should make sure that those who did that heinous act should be identified and brought to justice, so that should serve as deterrent to those who might want to do that in the future. And this is where the governor of Edo State should be commended, because he was at the forefront working with the police and all the security agencies to apprehend those who committed that heinous crime. In fact, that cooled down tension all over the country. Mr. President, for those who don't know, these hunters are traditional hunters, professional hunters. We have them all over the northern part of the country, and they move from place to place, to hunt. And once they are able to do the great animals, they will bring them to the market and sell. And it was on that premise that they went to where they went to hunt. And when they were coming back, they were mistaken for kidnappers. And instead of when they were arrested, the Vigilante should have taken them to the police. It happened sometime. This kind of thing happened in Ondo. The Amotekun force caught hunters from northern Nigeria, but they took them to the police, interrogated them. In fact, I had to even talk to them that look, they are not kidnappers, they were hunters, and they were released after confirming that to be true. So this is what the Vigilante in Edo did not do. If they had done so, they would have discovered that these people were not criminals. Mr. President, I think there's the need. I think there's a bill before us which is intended to regulate the affairs of hunters. You have hunters in every part of the world. You have hunters. So I think there's a need we pass that bill so that we can regulate their affairs. If you are moving from one state to the other state to hunt, there should be an arrangement where you'll be identified, where the host of where you are going to, the host will know that you are a hunter coming from another state, so that this kind of mistake will not occur again. And I want to urge, whenever there's anything, whenever there's you feel that somebody is a criminal, do not take the law into your hands. Take the matter to the police to investigate and follow due process of apprehension and then of course prosecution. Mr. President, I want to commend, because I spoke to you as well. I told you, and you said continue on behalf of the Senate. Do all you are doing on behalf of the Senate. I commend you also for showing concern, Mr. President. Mr. President, I so submit.
Kano Central. Mr. President, I earlier on deferred my motion. I had a motion too. I came and told you that I deferred my motion for cows to go because of its national outlook. That is one. Two, sir, I would like to commend Senator Kawu Sumela for moving this wonderful patriotic motion, because this is a matter of concern, not only for people that were in Kano that were killed, but all Nigerians. Mr. President, this motion speaks volumes. It is giving a lesson to us, the representative of the grassroots, for us to always enlighten our people, not until an incident happens. We have to enlighten our people of these kind of things. Because, Mr. President, like what the Deputy Senate President rightly said, he worked hard, Kawu worked hard to make sure that tensions are slowed down. Because people were agitating that, okay, let us take revenge. Now, if we allow that to start, we did our best. If we allowed that to start, we don't know where we are now, because people will go and rampage, especially in our, rural areas, in our areas, people, how they are, So we enlighten people, we talk to people, not only on this. This is what the lesson, what this motion is giving us. Not only do something about it, go and pay them compensation, this and that, but we have to enlighten our people. We have to go down to the grassroots to make sure that there is peace in this country. There is peace and oneness in this country. We are brothers keepers. We are brothers and sisters in the country. We are one Nigeria, and we have to make sure we talk to our people right in the grassroots, because there are such levels of areas where, the perception and understanding is not like everywhere. So, Mr. President, I commend my brother, my son, Abraham Kano Sumela, OFR, PhD, etc., with this very wonderful motion. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thanks.
Distinguished colleagues, I think Senator Barao Jibrin, that the way the leaders of Kano State handled this matter has saved the country from further tears. And this was a very unfortunate incident, maybe a case of mistaken identity, but it shows the state of apprehension in the country. Immediately you see somebody with arm, you imagine that a person is a criminal, even if it's a den gun. And then the people who took laws into their hands were condemned by all and sundry across the nation. If you, the leaders, did not move promptly, including the president and the commander-in-chief, and also the governor of Edo State, we would have had more tears in the country. And then we would have brought about ethnic division and suspicion and possible killings. So it is good that the Senate is discussing the issue and looking at ways of ensuring that this kind of unfortunate incident does not occur again in the future. It's on that note that I commend the Senator Kau for bringing this to the floor of the Nigerian Senate for our records. It's another wake-up call. Like the Deputy Senate President said, we must put necessary legislation in place so that hunting in the country can be done as a way of business to avoid suspicion, to avoid mistaken identity, and to avoid these kind of killings. The federal government has done what it should, condemn the incident and urge the Edo State government to rise to the occasion. The Edo State government did not only take action in collaboration with the police and other security agencies to apprehend the killers, but they went also to calm the nerves of the families. They traveled to Kano and then met with the governor of Kano and stakeholders and went to meet with some of the family members. So Nigeria is changing, because in the past this would have turned into a major boiling point, and now we are talking, we'll probably be running from one community to the other. And then the peace, the cohesion, and the stability of the nation will have been totally distorted. So the Deputy Senate President, I'll be glad to see a proposed act of parliament, a proposed bill that will regulate the hunting exercise in Nigeria. Particularly that where hunters move from maybe Jigawa all the way to Sokoto, we should have means of identifying them. Maybe in the act we can propose that when they move from one state to the other, they should report at the nearest police station. And then the police would register them and probably give them means of identification, so that if they are apprehended by Vigilante or by even the police itself or the army at the checkpoint, once they show that identification, then they will be allowed to go. And so that we can avoid this kind of unfortunate incident in future. But that it was brought under control is the credit of mankind and the grace of Almighty Allah. Otherwise, it was a everybody was apprehensive. Innocent lives would have been lost for nothing. So let's go into the prayers, and then we commend those who took part in bringing this issue to an end. Prayer 1. Commend the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for his swift directive to security agencies to thoroughly investigate the Uromi killings and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to justice immediately. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Commend the Governor of Edo State, distinguished Senator Monday Okpowolo, for decisively disbanding the illegal vigilante groups implicated in the killings and immediately constituting a fact-finding committee to ensure the arrests and investigation of the incident, and also commend the Governor of Kano State for moving immediately to enlighten the people and call the isolated incidents for what it is: criminality by a few that should not affect the whole of Kano State and other places. We should also commend His Excellency Abba Kerbe Yusuf for his proactive efforts in promoting peace in this country, showing solidarity with the families of the victims. Those in support of prayer 2 as cow say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3. Encourage the Governor of Edo State to expedite action in the ongoing investigations with a view to bringing the culprits to justice and to facilitate the prompt payment of adequate compensation to the bereaved families. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4. Call on the Senate to observe a minute silence in solemn honor of the victims of this senseless and tragic violence. Those in support of prayer 4 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We are on prayer 5. Prayer 5. Further call on the relevant state Senate committees on national security and intelligence, police affairs and human rights to A. Monitor the responses of government and security agencies to the incidents. B. Recommend appropriate legislative measures to regulate and professionalize the operations of community security outfits and vigilantes across the country. C. Propose reforms aimed at strengthening law enforcement accountability and curbing extrajudicial actions. Those in support of prayer 5, A, B, and C as cows say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 6. Call on the National Assembly to prioritize and advance legislation promoting local government autonomy, recognizing that empowered and well-resourced local governments are essential for rural development, grassroots security, reducing the persistent trend of rural-urban migration. Those in support of prayer 6 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 7. Mandate the clerk of the Senate to formally transmit these resolutions to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the governors of Edo and Kano states, and all relevant government agencies for immediate implementation. Those in support of prayer 7 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, additional prayer.
Mr. President, my additional prayer is that the Senate expedite action